This is a man who brought live tigers and elephants to his birthday party, who pulled up to nightclubs in exotic cars with a crowd so large it filled every room he walked into, who ran a cocaine distribution network across 12 states that federal prosecutors estimated generated $270 million in proceeds, who built a name so large that Rick Ross turned it into his most iconic line, that Pusha T referenced it on wax like a historical landmark, and that his own son eventually played him on a hit Starz television series. Big Meech just turned 58. He is living in Miami under federal supervised release. The luxury is gone, the empire is gone, and the full story of how it all collapsed and where he actually stands today is more complicated than anything a viral video has told you. Let's break the whole thing down. Demetrius Edward Flenory was born on June 21, 1968, in Detroit, Michigan. He grew up on the west side of the city alongside his younger brother Terry Lee Flenory, who the streets would come to know as Southwest T. Their father was a carpenter and musician. Their mother would later become the CEO of a community organization in Michigan. These were not the children of kingpins. They were the children of working-class Detroit who chose a different path. By the time the brothers were teenagers, they had already waded into the drug trade, starting small, selling $50 bags of cocaine on neighborhood blocks while still in high school. Most people who start there never grow beyond it. The Flenory brothers were built differently. Over the course of the late 1980s and throughout the 1990s, Demetrius and Terry built what federal prosecutors would eventually describe as one of the largest cocaine trafficking organizations in American history. They called it the Black Mafia Family. The streets called it BMF. At its peak in the late 1990s and early 2000s, the organization was running cocaine distribution across Alabama, California, Florida, Georgia, Kentucky, Louisiana, Michigan, Mississippi, Missouri, North Carolina, Ohio, and Tennessee. The brothers split the operation strategically. Demetrius ran the Atlanta hub, which became the beating heart of BMF's distribution network and its wildly visible public presence. Terry operated the Los Angeles side, managing incoming shipments connected to Mexican cartel supply lines. Federal investigators estimated the operation generated roughly $270 million in drug proceeds from the late 1990s through 2005. Meech's personal net worth at the height of his reign has been cited at around $100 million. But Big Meech became something beyond a drug trafficker. He became a cultural phenomenon. He launched BMF Entertainment as a promotional arm, throwing lavish events and hosting rappers and athletes across Atlanta's nightlife scene. He was the man who brought tigers and elephants to his own birthday celebration. He was the man whose presence at a venue was treated like an event in itself. He built mythology around himself in real time, and the hip-hop world absorbed it completely. Then, in October 2005, after a 2-year coordinated federal investigation called Operation Motor City Mafia, led by the DEA Special Operations Division, the government moved. Federal agents arrested Demetrius Flenory, along with more than 100 other individuals connected to BMF. The investigation had been building since 2003, involving surveillance, informants, large drug seizures, and wiretap communications. When the government pulled the trigger, they did not just arrest people. They dismantled an entire organization. In 2007, Demetrius and Terry pleaded guilty to operating a continuing criminal enterprise involving large-scale cocaine distribution from 1990 to 2005. In September 2008, a federal judge sentenced both brothers to 30 years in federal prison. Federal asset forfeiture is one of the most powerful tools prosecutors have. When you build a case against a criminal enterprise, you do not just take the people, you take everything connected to the criminal activity: cash, vehicles, jewelry, real estate. During the October 2005 raid alone, agents seized $2 million in cash, alongside weapons, cocaine, and other assets. That was one raid. By the time the full case was prosecuted and the forfeiture orders were applied, the financial dismantling of Big Meech's empire had been as thorough as the criminal case itself. The fortune was legally stripped before he ever had a chance to think about coming home. Big Meech did his time at FCI Coleman Low, a low-security federal correctional institution in Wildwood, Florida. On October 15, 2024, the Bureau of Prisons confirmed he was transferred to community confinement, a halfway house in Miami, to serve the remainder of his sentence under structured supervision. His attorney, Brittany K. Barnett, released a statement saying she was overjoyed and that Meech had used his time inside to focus on personal growth. According to Bureau of Prisons records, his scheduled full release date is January 27, 2026. But that release comes with 5 years of supervised release, meaning his movements, associations, and business activities remain under federal monitoring for years beyond that date. He did not come home to money. He came home to find the money had already moved on without him. Here is where the situation gets more complicated. While Big Meech was inside, his son Demetrius Flannery Jr., Lil Meech, landed the starring role in the BMF series on Starz, playing his own father on television. The show premiered in 2021 and ran 4 seasons, featuring Snoop Dogg, Eminem, 2 Chainz, Lil Baby, and dozens of major names. 50 Cent executive produced it. According to Tony Yayo and commentary circulating through the industry, Lil Meech burned through significant portions of his earnings, spending $100,000 on 10 pairs of custom Chrome Hearts jeans, $500,000 on a diamond BMF chain, moving at the level of the mythology without building anything to sustain it. And 50 Cent, in the middle of a very public falling out with the Flannery family, said it directly. He stated that he had helped the family earn over $5 million in legitimate television revenue, then added the line that stopped people cold, "It's not my fault, it's all gone." He went further and publicly accused Big Meech of having to borrow his own son's jewelry just to take photos. To be clear, Lil Meech earned that money himself. It was not Big Meech's money to begin with. The government had already wiped out the BMF fortune. But what the streets took from all of this is the contrast. Big Meech came home from nearly 20 years inside to find the money built from his name had already been spent. The 50 Cent situation made everything harder. In early February 2025, Big Meech appeared in a promotional video alongside Rick Ross to hype a welcome home concert planned for February 13th in Sunrise, Florida. Rick Ross and 50 Cent have been in a documented public feud since 2009. The moment Big Meech publicly linked up with Ross, 50 moved immediately. He posted a photo of a rat alongside Ross's own lyric, "I think I'm Big Meech," turning a tribute line into direct mockery. The implication of betrayal was unmistakable. From there, 50 escalated. He publicly accused Big Meech of cooperating with federal authorities, claiming to have paperwork connected to a former BMF associate. He leaked private text messages between himself and Lil Meech. He posted a fake GoFundMe page mocking Meech's finances. He used every platform he had to publicly destabilize the moment Big Meech was trying to build. Big Meech responded without naming 50 directly. He said he was not going to let anyone trick him off the streets, and stated plainly that he never folded and never will. 50's cooperation allegations remain unverified. No confirmed court documents supporting the specific claims have been made fully public. Former G-Unit member Young Buck publicly sided with Meech and warned 50 to back off, which 50 openly mocked. The hip-hop world had opinions on every side. The Welcome Home concert was canceled. The BMF Starz series was subsequently canceled after 4 seasons, with the network citing cost concerns as the primary reason, though the documented tension between 50 and the family it was built around was part of the conversation. For a man trying to rebuild legitimate income under federal supervision, that kind of public campaign against him carries real consequences. So where does Big Meech actually stand today? He is under active federal supervision in Miami, with years of monitored release ahead of him. He has been photographed connecting with figures like Rick Ross and Floyd Mayweather, exploring entertainment and branding opportunities. The BMF name still carries genuine cultural value that can be monetized, but every deal, every appearance, and every association happens under the scrutiny of federal oversight. He cannot move freely the way someone with a clean record can. The substance abuse program requirements, the supervision check-ins, the monitoring of his associations, all of it is ongoing. The celebrity world treated his release like a major cultural event, and in many ways it was. Rick Ross declared the streets back. Boosie Badazz welcomed him home publicly. Sexy Red offered to perform at his welcome home party for free. The name still commands that kind of attention. But the man behind the name is 58 years old, navigating a heavily monitored return to civilian life, rebuilding from a position that looks nothing like the empire he once ran. The fortune is gone, 20 years disappeared, and a world that rebuilt itself entirely while he was away is the one he has to operate in now. Whether this story ends with a legitimate second chapter or becomes a permanent lesson about what the federal system does to a life, that part has not been written yet. What do you think Big Meech's next move should be? Drop your take in the comments, and subscribe if you want the real stories behind the biggest names in hip-hop culture told the right way.